Hi, readers. Welcome back. It is Halloween Eve for me as I'm filming this, and it's one of my favorite days of the year. It's also a day that I usually take off of work if I can, or Halloween if I can, one or the other, not usually both. But this year, I already had stuff scheduled ahead with clients for tomorrow. So it is Happy Halloween Eve to me. So I'm going to be doing a lot of scary, spooky, creepy things today, including finishing an audiobook that I'm currently reading that is super creepy. But I wanted to bring you my book haul because clearly this has to stop. Obviously, it's the end of the month of October, but also, yeah, my excuse is that it was my birthday toward the end of September, and I did get some birthday money. And so that is kind of what happened in most cases here. But yeah, it's a lot. Hopefully they're all good. I also had a library book sale, so you know how that goes, right? Okay, let's get started with the first one that I purchased, and that is These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. I actually had reserved this on Scribd, so I have access to it on audio. It's a very small, short paperback I picked up at Sam's one day when I was sent to get some things that we needed. I'm sure Lisa won't send me back to Sam's again, but this one is interesting to me, and it felt like it was cheap enough, and it felt like it was compelling enough for me to pick it up. So this follows a man named Cooper, and he and his daughter Finch live in the woods, and they have very few people that they communicate with out in these silent woods. One of them is a man named Scotland, who is a hermit and doesn't have any real interest, apparently, in communicating with them. And another man named Jake brings them supplies periodically so that they are not, running out of food and other things. And then suddenly Jake doesn't show up. They have no idea what happened to Jake, and some other creepy things apparently start to happen as well. Description says it is vividly atmospheric and masterfully tense, a story of survival, sacrifice, and how far a father will go when faced with losing it all. Just sounded like a good idea to me, so I grabbed it. I also got The Other Side of Midnight by Simone St. James. I'm trying to pick up her older backlist because I don't own it. And a couple of them, I feel like, I think I lent one away to someone and I just never got it back. Nevertheless, this one follows a woman named Ellie who is a bit of a medium, and she has contacted the dead in other, experiences with other people. But she also discovers in her part of the world, in her timeline where she is, this is historical fiction, kind of creepy historical fiction. There are a lot of charlatans that are out there saying that they talk to the dead, but they really do not. But she's asked by a woman named Gloria, who is also a psychic, to do a reading for her. And she commits to the fact that this is kind of the last one. But then apparently some things occur. She's also thrown into the presence of a handsome man named James Hawley, who is a damaged war veteran, who is also dedicated to debunking psychics. And so they form, I guess, some sort of a relationship. I'm not quite sure what. I don't need to know a whole lot. I do love this cover. These covers, I think these are newer editions of these old novels by her, and I really enjoy them. So I would like to get to this one maybe before the end of the year. This one just looked fun. So I picked up The Christmas Murder Game, which is by Alexandra Benedict. I have never heard of this author, and I saw it come up on an ad on where, and so it said, "This Christmas is to die for. Let the game begin. A perfectly plotted festive mystery." That's really all I need to know, but it is around an annual Christmas game that happens at Endgate House or Endgame House. Maybe I don't have my glasses on. The Armitages' grand family home. I really do enjoy closed circle kinds of mysteries and mysteries that are set in homes. And if this is anything like Janice Hallett's work, it'll be great. But I think it'll just be fun. And it's almost Christmas. As I say goodbye to this season, I say hello to the next one. I started listening to this on audio. I've had it on audio on my old Audible account for a while, and I'm enjoying it, but it's rather, I don't know. I think I want a combination of reading and listening. It's also very long. It's very long. This is very small print considering what it could be. And it's a very long audiobook as well. So I think about this far in it, but I'm not even sure that that's accurate. But I was out shopping one day and I saw it and I grabbed it. So this is by Scott Thomas. And the premise of this is that a number of authors are asked by a man who does some kind of like filming of an event that could be quite interesting to viewers and is maybe creepy, scary, and is maybe has some like surprise things that happen to these people. So he chooses these authors who have written horror novels to come to this house that is supposed to be the most haunted house in the whole world, and he's going to film a documentary of them staying there overnight. Yes, it's always been a premise that I appreciated, and I would like to finish it sooner than later, but it just didn't. I prioritized a few other things in between because they came in, and I was ready for them. And this I have now forever. Let me know if you've read this. It was supposed to be a simple publicity stunt for famous horror authors spending the night in one of the world's most notorious haunted homes. I mean, what could you ask for more than that? Then I also bought a copy of The Exorcist because I hadn't had a physical copy of it again for a while. I would love to have that old copy with the purple, binding and the face, but this one is going to have to do. And I have not reread The Exorcist this season. I had planned to. I did watch the movie, the first one. I don't watch a lot of them. I have not watched the newest release yet, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. That doesn't mean I can't read it at any other time of the year, but other things took priority this year. But you know what this is about probably, but it's about a young girl who is allegedly possessed by the devil, and her mother is at wit's end to figure out how to help her. She's been through lots and lots of doctor's visits and lots of examinations, including some psychological testing, and turns out probably likely she's been possessed by a demon, and they hire an exorcist to release that demon from her daughter. All right, I actually picked up My Darling Girl by Jennifer McMahon, which was one of my most anticipated, and I do love Jennifer McMahon as an author, so I grabbed it with my birthday money. I've talked about this before, but for those of you who didn't see that video, this one is about a family. The mom's name is Allison. The girls are Izzy and Olivia, and her husband's name is Mark. I'm not sure if that's even necessary for us to know, except that while they're kind of decorating for, I think it's Halloween, but don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely certain about which time period this is. It's either Halloween or Christmas, I think. She discovers that her mother, who she'd been somewhat estranged from, is dying from cancer, and she's wanting to spend the last days of her life with her daughter. And so she returns to live to her mother's to temporarily be with her and live there while they, kind of support her mom in her last days. Meanwhile, something really awful happens in this house, and it's pretty sinister and creepy, and I'm all in. You can tell my creepy reads are going to extend way beyond the month of October. All right, then I got an email from the publishers, which I think is, the publisher is originally Macmillan, but this is an imprint. Minotaur, I think, published this. This is the third book in Anne Cleeve's Matthew Venn series, and I had talked about this before as well, and how I had gotten an arc of it on ebook, which I'm thrilled to have. And he wrote the handler for this particular series emailed and said, did I want a physical copy? And I said, sure. So I got this not long ago. I don't want to know a whole lot about this one. Matthew Venn does return home to his community for these books. I think each one of them. I've only read the first one. The first one is The Long Call. The second is The Heron's Cry. And then this one is The Raging Storm. I really like these. She does have a Vera somebody series. can't remember now. That one is super long, but I can manage, I think, 3 of these maybe by the end of the year. And this one came out September 5th, so it's a fairly new release. I'll probably replace this with one that matches my other two when I'm done, but I'm grateful for the ARC because that's always nice to have a physical copy as well as another way to read it. Then I think I mentioned in one of my videos, but maybe not, I did sort of tell a lot of people this because it's a surprise when I do it, and then I didn't do it. So I had skipped my book of the month selection for October because I wasn't really feeling like any of them were calling me forward. And then I was listening to the Currently Reading podcast, and it was either the podcast itself or the Patreon content. I can't remember which. And they started talking about this book, Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. And I had talked about it in Anticipated Reads as well. But I just felt like in that moment, I wasn't certain that I needed to purchase it. And then suddenly the way that they described their reading experience, I think it was Meredith that read it, pretty sure, but it could have been Katie. I was just like compelled to get this. So I went into the book of the month to add it to my box for November. And then I discovered you can unskip. Did you know that? I didn't ever, no one, I guess maybe I didn't check, but no one ever said you can go back and unskip. So I unskipped. I got this one. And this one's super, super creepy cover. So this one follows Opal, who is kind of a young person, a teenager. I understand that her banter is kind of funny. People feel like this book has a lot of humor in it, but she's also somewhat obsessed with this house and the person who lived there and wrote a book called The Underland and disappeared. And so everyone has sort of been obsessed by the Underland and by this house and by the things that maybe have happened there, the rumors perhaps, but she's asked to go inside and make some money by going inside the house. And I'm not sure what happens as a result, but it feels like a really good possibility that this will be creepy. I love this fall kind of color or cover. So this was again an October pick for the book of the month, but if you're a book of the month subscriber and you didn't choose it, you can choose it for November probably, hopefully. Alex Harrow wrote a couple of other books that I have never read, but have definitely heard of. One is The 10,000 Doors of January, and one is The Once and Future Witches. People don't really love The 10,000 Doors of January, but Meredith also loved that. And I do love a lot of the similar books that Meredith loves. So we'll see. This might be something that I really am excited about. Finally, my library had a book sale. I think I told you that it was coming up and I was super excited about it. I couldn't volunteer to support, even though I am a member of the Friends of the Library. The opening day was the only day they needed support and I couldn't go that day. But I did go on Monday and take a look at what they had to offer. And I actually didn't get as many as I would have thought, nor did I go back. I think I didn't go back though because I got sick. I probably would have if I hadn't, started to feel bad Monday afternoon. But the first one I got there was The Family Next Door by Sally Hepworth. I think I have access to this on Kindle Unlimited. I've only read one Sally Hepworth so far, and I enjoyed it. I really, really did. It wasn't a 5-star read for me. Nevertheless, this one is about a woman whose life looks perfect. Her name is Essie, and she has a beautiful home and a child, and her mother supports her with that child and helping, and she has a secret. And that secret is that she had a child once that she walked away from. Yeah, so Sally Hepworth does domestic thrillers, domestic relationships, I think pretty much in all of hers, somewhat like Sherry LaPina. And I have listened to a couple of podcasts with Sally Hepworth on them too. And she's really very funny and I really like her. So I wanted to grab this. It's again, not a paperback size that I usually fancy, but it was 25 cents, I think. And it's not in the best shape, but I don't know that I'm going to collect all of hers. I'll probably just put this in a little free library when I'm done. But it's a nice little, like if I travel, it's a nice piece to pop in my purse and read on the plane or something. I've never read anything by this author, but I have a book by Chris Bohalian, which is The Midwives, I think, or The Midwife. And this one was sitting there and it was in pretty good shape. And it's the paperback size that I appreciate. And it seemed like a good plot. So The Guest Room is about Kristen Chapman, who agrees to let her husband host a bachelor party in their home. And she takes her daughter away to leave them to their own devices. And then two women are brought there by force, and they will then kill their captors by the end of the evening and the party. So that sounded good to me. And then, of course, their life becomes quite different. This one I may gift as a Christmas gift for one of my boys, or just give it to them to read, but I don't own it in this format either. I have a paperback of it. What I do know, though, is that this one is a standalone. It's not a part of the Da Vinci Code series. I don't know. I can't remember what that detective's name is. Anyway, all I see right now is Tom Hanks. But Deception Point is a space kind of thriller. And my son loves NASA and space and all things about space. So this one is about a satellite finding evidence of a rare object that's buried in the Arctic ice. And they decide that they're going to have to find out what that is. And when they start to do that, some things happen. I have read it. I read it years ago. So I wouldn't mind the reread myself. And again, I'll either keep it, because most of my Dan Browns are hardback, but this one is a smaller version. So it may have been a release that happened later, but he's a great author, I think. He carries me through everything I've read, but I haven't finished all of his titles, so I'd like to do that. And then again, the condition of these, this one, Michelle Obama, The Light We Carry, the hardbacks were 50 cents. I mean, you cannot beat that, 50 cents. This one, I'm not sure if it's the printing of this book that looks this way, that's a little softer and a little lighter on the top, or if it was sitting in the sun in someone's home for a while, or maybe for the book sale, but it is a little, like, it just kind of loses a little bit of the vibrancy of the color as it rises to the top, but nevertheless, I don't care. I own her other memoir and have read that one, and I have been excited about this one, but I wasn't sure I was going to purchase it, and maybe I was just going to get it on audio or read it from the library. But when this was sitting there, I thought, oh yeah, no, I'm going to get this. I really love listening to her too, so I may listen to it as well. So I'm going to read this to you because I just like the way that this is set up. There may be no tidy solutions or pithy answers to life's big challenges, but Michelle Obama believes that we can all locate and lean on a set of tools to help us better navigate change and remain steady with flux. In The Light We Carry, she opens a frank and honest dialogue with readers, considering the questions that many of us wrestle with. How do we build enduring and honest relationships? How can we discover strength and community inside our differences? What tools do we use to address feelings of self-doubt or helplessness? What do we do when it all starts to feel like too much? What a perfect read, kind of in the years past the pandemic and some of the other things that have happened in the last few years. I don't know about you, but there are days where I just feel a little adrift, given what all is happening all around us. And it's just a number of things, a plethora of challenges these days, I think, for folks. And we're just seeing it unfold around us with friends, family, and again, on a national stage to some degree with crime and all kinds of other things occurring. So I would love to feel uplifted by this. The first one was definitely about her and her life and her journey in her career, as well as her marriage to Barack Obama and her motherhood and her, raising girls while also trying to find her footing as the First Lady of the United States, and then beyond that, as a former First Lady of the United States. So I think this one is a little bit more kind of and the subtitle is Overcoming in Uncertain Times. I think it's a little bit more of a call for all of us to connect to something that will ground us and center us, maybe. And I can't wait to pick up this one. So again, I may listen to it in some form because I appreciate listening to her voice so much. And then, we'll kind of go from there. I do love memoirs that are read by the author. I'm actually about to buy one for my partner today because she indicated this morning that she wanted this one too. And so I'll maybe haul that next month so that you can see it because I would like to read it too. But yeah, I do love memoirs. And sadly, after I posted the other day my TBR for nonfiction November, we lost Matthew Perry. And I was just saying how I was really looking forward to reading this memoir and understanding his struggles and his challenges with addiction, but also his life and his purpose and his connection to others and what he's done since he became sober and in recovery. And then suddenly we lost a great, very young man. So I've really been wrestling with that emotionally this weekend, and I'm certainly still going to read the memoir. In fact, I think I'm even more committed to reading it now. But yeah, it's just really sadly ending this on a bit of a sad note, and I didn't mean to, but I really find that my thoughts are preoccupied with the impact that has had on all of us who have watched him in that iconic role, but the one that he wants to be remembered for. And I just implore all of us to do that is when he got clean and sober and created support for others and brought them to sobriety and created the Perry House where people can recover from addiction and learn how to, live their lives differently and to overcome that disease. So I will support his desire to remember him for that, and I will read his memoir so that I can learn more about what he did, and maybe I can help to support that too. Okay, readers, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing your comments and seeing if you read or chosen any of these. How many books did you haul this month? That's the question. Maybe you can put little icons of books so that I can count them in the comments below, but I appreciate all of you so very much, and happy reading. Bye.